Welcome to episode number 2 of the DraftKings Life Podcast with Jason and Meg. I'm Jason Jones, Senior Recruitment and Marketing Specialist.
And I'm Meg, Talent Acquisition Associate. On this week's episode, it's going to be a little bit different. DraftKings, like many other companies, currently has a mandatory work from home policy in place. So this episode will be recorded completely via Zoom. I am home in upstate New York, staying socially distant from everyone except for my family.
And I am in Boston, Mass, where I am getting some nice quality time. Aren't we, everyone?
Yes, we are.
How about yourself, Jack?
Oh, absolutely. Nothing like isolation.
So this week we'll be featuring our very own Jack Murphy, site lead on our engineering team, all the way from Dublin, Ireland.
Thanks, Jack, for being here. Today we're just going to be running through some questions to get to know more about your DraftKings experience. So let's just start with, Jack, what do you do at DraftKings?
Well, guys, firstly, thanks for having me on the podcast today. It's really cool to be able to do something like this. So my role at DraftKings is site leader for the Dublin office. This effectively means that I worked with Global Real Estate to find a site for DraftKings in Dublin. And then we built out that site, working with various teams across DraftKings. And now we're staffing that site and bringing people on board to work with DK. So I run everything in the Dublin office to keep it ticking along.
So what is a normal day for you like in the Dublin office? And then has that changed for you while you've been working from home?
Yeah, my role's one where there's no typical or normal day. There's definitely some common themes, but when you're running a site and you're doing recruitment and you're looking after a brand new team, every day brings something different to it. That said, my normal day, I leave home about 5 a.m., commute to the city. I'm usually sitting at my desk by about 7. And I then check everything in the office, make sure all the systems are working, making sure everything's fully stocked, everything is available for the guys when they come in. And then throughout the day, I'm checking in with the building management team, our own people, our suppliers, the various groups across DraftKings to keep us running. And then with recruitment being such a key focus, I think pretty much every day I'm interviewing somebody or reviewing applicants. And that's a really fun part of the job because I work with one of the best talent acquisition teams I've ever worked with. So I really enjoy getting to grips with all those new applicants coming in.
So Jack, starting from the beginning, what drew you to DraftKings and had you even heard of DraftKings before interviewing with us?
No, I'd not heard of DraftKings. DraftKings doesn't actively market in Ireland. So while it's a very familiar brand in the United States, it's not as well known here. But in July of last year, I went to a meeting with Travis Dunn, who's our CTO, and Dan Kasich and Sean Flanagan, both of whom are directors of engineering for DraftKings. And I just loved the vibe that the guys had. I loved how they talked about the company, how the company treated its employees, how they had to deal with so many technology challenges and so many opportunities out there in the market. So I went from there into the recruitment process and a visit to Boston in August. And I got to meet lots more people. And I think coming away from that, and I remember it being a Wednesday evening, flying back to Dublin, and I just knew that this was a company I wanted to work for, and it was a team that I wanted to be part of.
And so what is something that stood out to you when you first started working at DraftKings, and what surprised you?
I think one of the things that stood out to me was the level of support that I got from the company. And bear in mind that I'm a new person to DraftKings. I've been tasked with setting up a brand new office in a brand new location. It's a big project. It's very high profile. But the level of support I got was absolutely amazing, not just from people that I had been introduced to and I was actively working with, but from people all across the company who either walked up to me in Boston when I was there for a few weeks or pinged me on email or Slack and said, "Hey, if you need anything, I'm here. This is what I do. Please tell me if I can help." That was absolutely, it just blew me away. It was astonishing how good that was. And that continues to this day. I regularly get people who reach out to me when we send out an update from Dublin or we present something on an all hands. I'll get loads of people reaching out and saying, "Hey, this is really cool. Can I help?" So that has been, it really stood out. And it also surprised me. Having worked for companies before that are setting up new offices, there's sometimes a hint of fear that the new office may take jobs or that the new office will distract from the core business. Certainly none of that's happened in DraftKings. It's been fantastic support from day one.
Right. Jack, you and I have had the pleasure of working together in regards to hiring in Dublin. So what has it been like for you launching a brand new office? And, I know you said you liked being a part of the hiring process. So what has it been like just throughout this crazy process and, everything that we've gone through?
Oh, it's been brilliant. I absolutely love it. I interview every single person that qualifies in the recruitment process. So I get to talk to everybody at some point of the process. And that's fantastic for me because that allows me to tell them what we do. It allows me to explain our values and how we operate. And I think try to get across to people the passion and enthusiasm that you feel throughout the company. And I think the TA team that support us from Boston are absolutely incredible. They make the process really easy, and they really look after the people coming through the interview process as well. And we've hired people from all levels of experience and so many different locations. The talent's just been fantastic. Every single individual has brought their personality and their engineering talent to the team. And I think the other thing that's been really innovative in terms of our recruitment is that we relocated Dan Kiesik, a director of engineering, and two senior software engineers, Will Rigby Hall and Asad Abdullah. And they've been instrumental in bringing on board new people and passing on that DK culture as well. So from day one, recruitment has felt like a very big team of people working together to get the best people into DraftKings.
It really has been, such a great experience, and just being able to see it from the beginning. And then we have, we definitely have a ways to go, but, it really feels like it's starting to pick up and take shape, even with us all being remote. So that's great. Awesome. So, what do you think makes DraftKings unique for candidates applying, and then also just as an employee, as you've gotten used to what it's like here?
I think for me, every company is defined by its people and how they support and interact with each other. And at DraftKings, it's very people focused. And it's everything from the way we look after our teams with workplace experience and HR to groups such as equity, inclusion, and belonging who bring the values to life. We don't just pay lip service looking after our teams, we invest in it. We invest time, money, effort. We're really looking to make that come alive. And that's very cool for me. That's first and foremost, I believe in looking after our people, and DraftKings is very aligned with that. I think in terms of Dublin and Boston are very close in terms of culture and how we work. I think in Dublin, we've got a great mix of people. They're technically brilliant, but they enjoy interacting with each other, and that makes for a really fun work environment, that we just enjoy going into. And I think as well, a lot of people who've worked in Ireland have worked for multinationals. So they bring a perspective and ways of working to DraftKings from their experience that I think is helping to move us forward and helping us in terms of our process development and scaling the company as we go forward in the next year.
Definitely.
That's great. That's awesome. So, Jack, what type of engineering talent are you looking for right now?
So, the DraftKings ecosystem is very complex, and it's operating at huge volume, and it has to be constantly available in a market that's constantly evolving. It just never changes. So, it's a challenge of scale and relentless innovation that you really don't appreciate until you learn more about what we do. So we're looking for software engineers at all levels of experience and engineering leadership to help grow the teams that we have. Our interview process is very detailed, and we expect a very high level of skill across not just software development, but design, communication, and before you get offered a position. So For us, if you're a software engineer who really relishes complex technical challenges and you want to contribute to the company and contribute to the way that we work and the way we operate and just bring that innovation to your day-to-day work, then you're the kind of person that we're looking for.
I'm sold.
I know, right? He's had some time to work that one out, but it's all true.
It is true.
And then I'd love to hear a little bit more about how you collaborate with other teams. Who else do you work with at DraftKings?
Yeah, it's constant. We don't exist in a vacuum. From my perspective, there's a number of different levels. So number one is that we are an engineering team. So we are part of DraftKings Engineering, reporting up into Travis Dunn as our CTO. So Dan Kiesik, who runs engineering in Dublin, looks after Sportsbook, and that's the engineering team that we're building out. So we're in collaboration pretty much all the time through Slack, email, Zoom. We've state-of-the-art meeting rooms. They're brilliantly set up by our IT people. We've digital whiteboards, and all that capability is available from home as well. At another level, as a site lead, I interact with a lot of different groups. Workplace experience, finance, real estate, talent acquisition, HR, all the different groups that it takes to organize an office and a site. And again, we use all the communication mechanisms for that. What I like about DraftKings as well is that using tools like Slack, we can get a lot of very quick, simple communications done without necessarily setting up long, elongated meetings. We can just fire questions out there and get responses back. The other thing that we do really well as a company is keeping everybody up to date on what's going on. So monthly engineering all hands that Travis Dunn typically hosts are a brilliant way of giving an insight into the business and the products and the teams. And it's one of those all hands that I very much look forward to, because I come away from every one of them having learned something. And in many cases, I come away from those meetings and reach out to people and say, hey, I just saw you on the all hands. Tell me more about what you do. So for us, collaboration is something that it's part of everything we do. We don't operate in a vacuum, and we're lucky that we have the tools and the kind of people that we work with that make that really easy.
No, that's a good answer. And I think it's even more poignant now that we're all remote and distributed across different countries and time zones. And it's definitely an answer. Thank you, Jack. So since you started, Jack, what are some technical challenges you faced that you can share with us?
For me, the technical challenges revolved around getting the office up and running. So if I cast my mind back to September of last year, we signed a lease on an empty floor of a building in Dublin city centre. It had no meeting rooms. It had no services set up. It was just an empty floor. And we set out with the help of Mac in Global Real Estate, Glow in IT, Kelsey in Workplace Experience, to turn that into a modern space. Huge project. Everything from building rooms, rewiring the whole space, getting all the IT equipment purchased, set up, configured, and then getting it built out to the point that it is today, where we have our community space for our people to sit down and have lunch. We have our snack station. We have some amazing artwork on the wall. To get to there took months of working with contractors and suppliers, and supervising the build pretty much every day to make sure it got there. I had massive support for that. It's a huge team effort, but it was a huge technical challenge. And I think right up to the point of our office opening, which was in early March, we were still working on getting everything up and running. So I think as challenges go, it was a big one, but it's also something that as an office, we're very proud of, because I think the site that has been built with the help of all those teams, when we bring people in to see it, it just blows them away. They love what we have in terms of the look and feel and the space and everything else. So I'm really proud that we did that.
And I'll say too, from just my time there a few weeks ago, that new like interactive whiteboard that just arrived, that was pretty cool, Jack.
Yeah, it's very cool. So that was something that we spoke to IT about back in January, and we said, look, we're a remote site. We want to get better tools for collaboration. So IT spent a number of weeks testing out various solutions for us and shipped that over. So we'll have those digital whiteboards in our various locations, but they're absolutely fantastic for stand-ups, for meetings, and obviously then for collaboration where everybody can just contribute to the same drawing. They're really cool.
Very important.
Super
Very
cool.
nice.
Jack, you've done such an awesome job, getting this office up and running. It's been really cool to have been able to be a part of the hiring process, but just in terms of where we started, I remember when you were waiting on furniture to be delivered to the office the day before we had a candidate come in to interview, and now just where we are with everything finally being set up and coming together. It's been a really exciting thing to watch. So that being said, I have one final question before we just move on. But if you had one piece of advice for candidates looking to join DraftKings, specifically in Dublin, what would you say to them?
I think it's be ready for fast pace. There's lots of opportunity. There's some big technical challenges. We move quickly. Be okay with ambiguity and change as well. We're growing so quickly and we're adapting to the market faster than we ever have before. And as a company, we like to be agile and we like to change direction and make sure that we're doing the right thing for our business. So if you are the kind of person who loves that kind of challenge, just get in there, solve big technical challenges at huge scale, and be adaptable to change direction when that requirement comes, then I think you'll fit in perfectly.
Definitely. Yeah. And just being able to be yourself and to be a part of that interview process while showing off why you want to join DraftKings is, something that we definitely value and look for in a candidate. So that's great.
I think authenticity stands out. Right. When you've got a candidate sitting there, and yes, of course, we're looking to test them on their technical skills and design and communications and everything else. But we're looking for people who are authentic. We're looking for people that will fit into our organization, that will be themselves, bring that to work, and help us innovate and help us move forward. So authenticity is everything. I think if you're a very authentic person who's willing to learn, you'll go far in DraftKings.
Great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jack, for running through those questions with us. We have now a 2-minute drill section of the podcast where we basically just run through lightning round questions for 2 minutes, and we'll stop you when that 2 minutes is up. Jonesy, do you want to start the timer?
The timer starts now.
Awesome. Let's start with, where are you from, Jack?
I'm originally from Arklow in County Wicklow, but I've lived in Laois for about 20 years now.
Nice. What university did you go to?
So I went to Waterford Institute of Technology, which is in the south of Ireland, way back in the early 90s.
Favorite food?
Cottage pie. I love cottage pie, but my partner Deborah is on the ketogenic diet, so I really enjoy researching dishes and cooking for her all the time, trying to find something new that fits in with keto.
Nice.
That's awesome. This might tie into the next question, but how have you been keeping busy during the stay-at-home advisory?
Well, it's never quiet. I mean, whether it's getting out for walks or catching up and stuff around the house, I don't think there's been a quiet day. But, I've also been doing lots of cooking. And then when there is actual downtime, I read a huge amount. So I love to just curl up with a book.
Nice. Favorite mobile app?
Oh, an easy one, Weather Nerd. So I love weather apps. I have dozens of them. The reason being that it's the same data provided to pretty much every provider of weather apps, and they all have to come up with clever ways of showing the data, having a USP, and getting across the weather. Sounds really simple. It's really complex. And so it's an area that I keep a close eye on.
Very nice. 30 seconds.
What's one Gaelic word that you can teach us?
So Galua is one that gets used quite a lot.
Galua.
Yeah, so we say it means eventually, but it's effectively something you hear announced on public transport a lot to say that we're coming into a station or we're coming to a stop. But we say
Nice.
Galua means eventually.
5 seconds. Best place to visit in Ireland.
Cliffs of Moher down in County Clare. Absolutely love it. There's a huge energy down there and just a natural beauty. So I love going down there a couple of times a year just to recharge.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the recommendations, Jack. It's awesome.
Well, that is it for us today. Jack, thank you again so much for being a part of this and for everything you've been doing at DraftKings. It's been great, having you on the team, and your work does not go unnoticed. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Jack. You were truly a pleasure to work with every day.
And thank you both. I think, I really enjoy everything that we do in DraftKings, and having the opportunity to do something like this is very cool and very exciting. So thank you both.
Awesome.
And thank you everyone for joining in. These are unprecedented times for all of us. So be kind to one another, stay safe, stay strong, and see you next time.